My video journey started many years ago, back in 2009. One of my first videos that I made, that I've kept, was my declaration against Christian oppression. In this video, I kind of copied a segment from The Punisher, in which he talks about his declaration of intent. This was my declaration of intent against Christian oppression. Then I had videos where I was talking about, why I left Christianity, how I felt that it was dangerous, how things just didn't work for me. And there we go. Religious Tolerance 101, where I talked about, how people should get along and respect each other. This was also a very angry time for me as a former Christian turned pagan. I was still going through my Christian anger period, and so I was making a lot of videos like God controls weather. Ask them, if God controls the weather, why did tornadoes take out churches? Religious morality, because we know that the Christians love to say how it is the Bible that they find morality. So, what about it? My first video talking about redefining paganism, because I thought it was a very broad term, and also you had the old dictionary version, where if it wasn't Abrahamic, it was pagan. Health, sickness, death, and God. This video was inspired by a young girl who died in Wisconsin because her parents were devout Christians and they thought that prayer would heal her if she was worthy. Christian censorship, there's God in the Apple Challenge. I mean, there were a lot of videos. I took part in social issues such as the whale wars that were on Animal Planet. There's some good fun moments. There's two videos where I went to a pagan party. I got drunk and I sang God Will Fuck You Up by John Butler, and it's kind of funny. This was, of course, around Christmas for the Christians, Yule for the pagans, and so I did a series of videos talking about how certain Christmas traditions actually had pagan roots. Talked about, how they were trying to put creationism in schools and how that was wrong. One of my best videos I ever made, one of my first long ones, was Samhain and Halloween. They are not the same, talking about how, we have our Samhain and the Christians have their Halloween, how they should leave our Samhain alone. This video got me into some trouble. Got a couple death threats on this one. Christian killers and perverts. How they like to talk about how bad and evil we are as non-believers. Well, when this video was made, there was a killing in the Bible Belt, and they like to make references to the accused killer because his wife was pagan. They made sure that they brought that out, but they did not talk about all these other killers and what their religious traditions were. And so this is a video that talked about famous serial killers and their religious background. I did a lot of videos talking about the Bible and misconceptions. These two videos right here, how the media misleads women on their weight. You know, let's face it, you got people that are promoting this skinny as heck mentality that women have to be, can only be measured on their sexuality, and how that's wrong. And this one I think a lot of people should watch, and that's the value of women in religion. How the Abrahamic religions treat women like dirt, their property, and how we pagans, we value women a lot more. I did a lot of early videos talking about magic and prayer, how they're very similar. Paganism is a blanket term. Gosh, I've talked about that a lot over the years. This one was made in 2009. Christian Wiccans. So, I mean, I talked a lot of different things on my YouTube history. Okay, the second Dark Age of Man is talking about how we are regressing. We seem to be becoming more and more ignorant as our technology improves. 2012, you know, everybody was talking about the world ending, and here it doesn't. Excuse me. Talked about keeping creation out of schools, Republicans, you know, try to tell them to take charge of their party because they were letting the Tea Party rule. This one is good. Occupy Wall Street, $0 bill. The Occupy movement was in full swing, and I decided to create, you know, fake money on YouTube, you know, representing George W. Bush and all the problems he did. You know, I actually made videos about the weather here in Iowa. You know, that's where I'm from. Paganism, the what's and the whys. We got paganism, tools of the trade, paganism, being part of nature. Paganism, we are like the animals. People tell me that I should make videos about paganism. Well, I do. These explain how I feel about the pagan world that I'm in. Yes. Too much Christmas. Manners of the instant gratification society. You know, feel-good religion, eclectic Wicca. Yes, I've had a lot of problems with Wicca, but, you know, that's my opinion. I even did, there we go, I am pagan and proud. You know, I still have a lot of problems with Christianity, well, the Abrahamic religions as a whole. Right there is Christianity and the religious persecution. How they love to claim that they're being persecuted, but yet they persecute others. This was early in the previous presidential campaign. You know, Herman Cain, he was trying to go, I'm a Christian, but, you know, showing how he really doesn't act like a Christian. You know, we have these freedom of religion laws going on. So right there is religious rights of atheists and pagans. How the Christians, you know, they want their religious rights, but really don't care about ours. During one of the previous Islamic fits, this should have been about time of the Danish cartoonist, and everybody was having a draw Muhammad rant. Well, I drew Muhammad. Right there's the video. Talked about pagan rites. I am opinionated on everything, and that's why I think it's very important. Talked about bad parenting. There's the age of extremism, because I think that society as a whole has gone one way or the other. Talked about Druidism as a viable, as Christianity. I've demanded, after the earthquake in Pakistan, but Pakistan was still funding terrorism, why should we send them flood aid? The first video, my introduction to the pagan training video series that I've been working on. I've talked about ethics. I tell people that they need to vote. I'm a Democrat, Joe Biden is awesome, yes, the other side of light and love. This was just a quick little animated video that I created. It talks about how some pagans, a lot of Wiccans, how they demand that everybody be light and love, but yet they also show some of the worst hate as well once anybody talks differently to them. I've talked about negativity on the internet. Harvest Moonchild, I did a video on her. She was talking about how we should, block negative people. And she wanted us to do this walk and block. And I talked to how that wouldn't work. How we'd be closing ourselves off. One time I tried to do some cartoons. I'm not as good an artist as I wish I was. A chat with Satan, like cartoon, work of God. I do love to talk about paganism. I try to do more pagan videos than Christian-oriented videos. I talked about self-initiation, the pros and the cons, path building, making a connection with your spirituality. Here we go, ghosts and spirits, how they can be real. I do believe in ghosts and spirits. I made a very popular video, a Druid 101, some of the basic requirements of being a Druid. This is reflecting my points of view. Discipline and values to make yourself, a better person. And parts of my pagan journey, which people don't realize I have made. Connecting with water, my tools, what I think are bad pagan concepts, ritual ideas. How we should treat the gods and goddesses, blinded by the light, what is a pagan, walking with the trees. I give a lot of pagan videos. The problem with what just happened is that a lot of people don't know me and were judging me. They were being hypocritical of me when they say, this is what I should do. I've done it. I talked about religious tolerance for pagans, a pagan workshop. Not a big fan of Rush Limbaugh. So, I talked about his hatred. Not a big fan of Z Budapest. I think she is a radical feminist. Talked about the dangers of religion and politics. Yes, my lessons. I did a lot of lessons in doing my Pagan Learning Open Circle. I talked about these are basics, about altars, tools. Talked about the elements, the Sabbaths, the cycles of life, male and female aspects. There's a lot in here. and I believe these help people. Again, helping people, making your wand, finding your chalice, religion, magic, and science. You know, because that one I liked because, you know, we should not shun science, and this helps us, you know, understand there is science and spirituality can work together. I oppose Thanksgiving, and I proclaim how it's not a day for pagans. Talked about respect. Made another video about Samhain, you know, little tidbits of our proud Celtic traditions. Ranting about paganism, not sure what that one's about. Losing your spirituality, and I believe this one is trying to help people reconnect with their spirituality. More lessons, and yes, witch hunts. You know, challenging yourself, being spiritual and being a pagan. I mean, these are wonderful videos that people should watch and should realize these are videos that I make to reflect the positive side. Too bad a lot of the people that judged me never looked to see who I am. I mean, one with the universe, isn't that what we talk about being? I got more lessons here, like St. Patrick's Day, Day of Pagan Hatred. You know, we talk about how St. Patrick was moving to drive snakes out of Ireland, and the snakes represented us. Well, you know, why would a pagan want to do that? There are some exercises, even, you know, chakra gazing. I thought that was kind of cool. You know, and I try to tell people to be smarter, you know, reading books about paganism. Okay, you know, I have certain views on body modifications. Then we had, gosh, just over a year ago, the Kenny Klein situation. You know, Kenny Klein was arrested with supposed child pornography, and I was upset because a lot of pagans who used to say, you know, let's not be judgmental, let's not act so brash, all of a sudden were burying Kenny Klein before the courts had done anything. And I voiced my opinion on their actions. And that's what The Truth Hurts is also about, because we got a whole bunch of pagans that, you know, they were being hypocrites, and I was calling them out on it. You know, pagan attitudes, don't be a witch thief, of people that think they know everything and anything and everything about magic, and they really didn't. They show no respect. My journey, I try to learn as much as I can about the Celtic ways, and that's what this video is about. The 3 realms of Celts, the elements, and I changed my altar layout because of that. And here I show my new altar stand that I made to represent the god and goddesses. You can't please everyone, so don't try. I have etiquette, manners for the pagan YouTuber. This is what started my problems with Tara, Elliptica 24, and Gemma in the first place, because I made this video, I was trying to make people put, their best foot forward, and, when they make videos, because they represent us when they do it. I represent the pagan community when I make my videos, and she didn't like what I said, and so from that point on, she's been trolling me. I tried to do some challenges. I talked about self-image, more lessons. Like I said, I got 48 lessons built. Oh yeah, there's Peyton Manning after the Super Bowl route. I'm a big Patriots fan, and I hate Peyton Manning. I did some book reviews. There's been some books I didn't like or liked, and that's what this one's about. Using music in your pagan practices. I think it's very important. Music expresses our emotions, our feelings, and that is very good to find the music that works for you. This is kind of ironic. Here it is, dealing with negativity and being pagan. I hear, people are accusing me of being very negative, and here's the video about it. Paganism your way. What can be sacred? I even wrote a song. I wrote this a long time ago. Jesus sells on eBay, and this was one of my ways of venting when I was going through my Christian hatred period, and I never got to making the video or anything for it. And when I found it, putting papers away, I just decided to do it. I play Minecraft, and so I did some Minecraft stuff, trying to show a pagan theme for it. I have some people that I have a great deal of respect for. One of them is Freak Phil, aka Birch, and I want to say thank you to him because he's helping me out. I used to be an old-time role player, and so when I was moving some stuff around, I saw my old role-playing books, and I kind of thought about some things I used to think about when playing them, and so I brought it up. There it is. What to wear for pagan rituals. I think that was very important. I was involved in some pagan groups. And they did a YouTube video about pagan stereotypes. So I contributed. There's a video about my meditation room that I've been working on. I've talked about paganism and materialism, Hobby Lobby, thinking we should boycott that. There's a video right there. Should I join a coven or go solitary? Like I said, I actually did try to help people out. Pagan concepts in movies and TV. Probably talking about how Hollywood has given the wrong impression about us pagans. Oh gosh, this one's not that old. I've been having problems with paganism, the umbrella getting so big. And so many people want to put so many odd things and say it's Wiccan. And so I did a video called Power Ranger Wiccan Tradition, saying, you can't just take everything and say it's Wiccan or it's pagan. If your beliefs, this is talking about, people that use their religion to do bad things. Religious tolerance in the intolerable world. And, you know, and this guy right here, this Brian Moonham, I did 2 videos on him because he was talking about how satanic paganism was. And there again, you know, talk about my concerns about paganism expanding too much. I saw videos saying neo-Wiccans, and I thought that was just too weird. Teaching Wicca. I actually did a few videos doing the very basics about teaching Wicca. Talked about pagan symbolism, the war on Christmas from the pagan perspective. There's been a lot of issues about Texas schools using books that have Bible influences. I made a video about that. This one here. I am actually an ordained minister, and I've been trying to work on speeches and that I would use for certain events in people's lives. And I have been working on speeches that to use at funerals. And this one is about a speech, a generic speech that I would give at a funeral if I was asked to do a funeral. Being from Iowa, I had to deal with Joni Ernst, can't stand her. This one, Jar of Me. Now, this one is talking about taking a jar and you put aspects of yourself in this jar. You know, it's to show that there is more to you than like 2 or 3 things. You are more complex than you ever think. Goddess worship, Gaia, hypothesis, you know, the definition, woodwork. Gosh, I've done a lot of videos. Spelling and spell work. Gosh, I even spelt that wrong. I never saw that before. Talking about how grammar and all that is important when you're doing magic work. I thought about adding Sabbats, more Sabbats actually. This was social Sabbats. It's just a concept that I was working on because I have so many ideas going through my head. The troll epidemic, because there are a lot of trolls out there. And there we are. We are on the last page. We talked about our most modern one. Of course, the eclectic pagan puppy mills, which has caused all this drama in the first place. And you see, I also do more videos that are decent because the plant haul. This is talking about when I went to a greenhouse. I bought all these plants really cheap, and I've been going around trying to plant them around my house and my yard. I've done a series about the Abrahamic war on the world, talking about the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim violence because of what's been going on with ISIL, because they have been destroying landmarks and how bad that is. But all these 3 religions done stuff like that. I've made videos about me making things for my altars, like these Celtic god statues out of wood. I talked about individualism, my views on oracle decks. Gosh, you know, I talk about anything and everything. How about Wiccan privilege and Facebook groups, how people are taking the read to the extremes. Let's face it, I talk about everything. And there's one I got to really talk about, the American Council of Witches. Now, during this right here, people don't understand that I fight for what I think is important. And I did a few videos talking about the American Council of Witches. Here we go again. This was actually their second attempt to form The one in 2015 wanted to revise the 13 principles of belief because they wanted it to fit the modern era so that we can fit more groups under the pagan umbrella, such as nihilists and that. And my opinion is that nihilists don't fit into the pagan realm, and so I spoke up against the American Council of Witches. There we go. I posted a video about the 13 principles of belief, and they were starting to delete and block people. They were not answering questions. They were basically doing the same mistakes as the first attempt to create the American Council of Witches, so I made a video talking about their failure. A lot of people do not realize that I fought against this because I'm trying to protect traditional paganism. I don't want it to be hijacked by people who are thinking about themselves and greed. I'm not as mean as everybody thinks I am. Keeping Christianity out of paganism. Because we have Christo-Wiccans and all that just love to take principles of Christianity and mix it in with paganism, two opposing religions, and they think it's good, and it's not. Pagan words. I did a quick little video about the quick glossary of common pagan terms. I thought that would help people that were new to paganism. Talked about making mistakes, knowing the gods. I've done a lot of good videos to help people out. And that is part of my video journey, which reflects in the person that I really am. So please don't judge me by a video. Know all of me before you say anything about me.